Good morning. We are back with Gabrielle Simmons after our audio issues yesterday. We are going to pick up where we left off. Gabrielle was discussing her support system that she had in the trucking industry. So Gabrielle, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we were discussing how everyone back home, friends and family, when I first started trucking at 22 and then, bought my own truck and went out officially on my own at 23, they weren't super supportive. They weren't super excited about me being out there by myself and the dangers of being a woman on the road. But I found support and some good friends in my trainer who I met at Schneider. He was actually the TA or TE training engineer, I think is what they call it, at
Hmm.
Schneider when I first started. So we built a friendship, and whenever I felt like I needed some support or encouragement or help, he was there for me to talk to, as well as another gentleman who was in the owner operator orientation with me once I went and bought my own truck. So that became my support system for the first probably about a year that I was on the road by myself.
So, being that young and being a female, we hear a lot of stories about women who have problems with misconduct, sexual assault. I myself have some very strong male relationships in the trucking industry, as so do you. Did these men, were they protectors? I mean, I know you've had your share of misconduct and comments out there. How did you navigate that and, find a way to trust men in that sensitive environment?
I actually am like too trusting with everyone, and so I don't approach most men with the idea that I need to be on guard or um, not feeling safe. I feel like I've had the blessing of feeling very safe and protected by majority, like vast majority, 9.99% of all the men I've come into contact with on the road at truck stops. I feel like they have taken more of a place of like big brother, uncle type, like, hey, let me look out for you, let me help you, like, hey, I see it's dark outside. You're about to go walk in to take a shower. I'm going to walk with you, kind of thing. Um, and so I've always felt very grateful for that. I have had a couple instances where some men were less than gentlemen, and um, I found that to be few and far between.
That's good because there's a lot of women whose experiences are a little different in that environment, especially being young. It's like fresh meat out in the trucking industry. So,
Yeah, I mean, like they want to talk and like they say their little flirty things, but I don't take that to be harassment or like, I'm just like, it's a man trying to be flirty because he sees a pretty girl. Like, oh, haha, funny. No, I don't want to team drive with you. No, I don't need your
mhm.
help. And have a great day. you know.
And saying that, there are things that you did to stay safe and rules that you lived by, on the daily to make sure you maintain that safe environment, I imagine?
Yeah, for the most part, like I was taught early on from other women in the industry to like try to stay in your truck when it's dark out. Try not to leave the truck to go shower or do things after it's dark. So I've always made it a point to like start my day early in the morning and park by the before it's dark out. Um, and I actually so I'm sure this probably isn't the best thing to share, but I also don't really care. um, so I initially, when I was on the road, I did not have any type of weapon or protection with me. And after having a incident where I felt extremely unsafe, I had some, I was going to say gentlemen, not gentlemen, some men, two men who actually approached my truck, were pulling on the handle at 3 o'clock in the morning. They knew I was there alone. They actually worked at the pilot that I was at. Um, and they, came to the truck like, "Hey," trying to get me to open the door. My curtains are pulled. They're literally pulling on the handle, which to me was like super not okay, right? Like now you're attempting to enter my space. After that happened, that was about 2 months into me being on the road by myself. I got a gun. I got a pistol and kept it on me in my truck. And, that's not illegal, or that's not legal to have a gun in our trucks and cross state lines, as different states have different rules.
It actually
But,
is. It actually is, except for California and New York.
right. Yeah. And at the time I was going to California and New York. Um, so I was just like, I don't care. I don't care that it's not okay. Some places, like, I'm gonna protect myself if need be. I would never want to have to shoot someone, but I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not
Then
have
need
it.
it, not have it. Yeah, I agree with that. And I want women to know that for the most part, a lot of the men out here can be trusted, but a lot of the men can't. And so while you shouldn't walk around scared, and you should be secure in your environment, you also don't want to be naive.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
so great supportive network that you establish in the trucking industry. So
Mhm.
now you're on your own, you're flying solo, you're making the money. How's life?
It was great. I was, 23, 24, making the most money I ever made as an owner operator. Um, I it was my first time, like, even encountering that type of income, and so I kinda wild out, like, I got my passport, and I would, like, I flew one of my best friends from Colorado who's never been out of state. I got her a passport, took us to Cuba on, like, a week-long trip for New Year's. I went to Dubai by myself and just,
Wow.
like, yeah, I met some people while I was over there, but I, like, flew over to Dubai by myself, which was my first international trip. And kinda, yeah, like I said, I just started, like, traveling a bunch and loved it. So, um, it felt great to, like, have got to that point where I reached the goal of, being financially secure, working for myself, being able to choose when I wanted to drive, what loads I wanted to take, um, and until I got tired of being on the road, and I'm like, "All right, I need something that can buy my time back so that I don't have to be forced to stay on the road." And that's when I started getting into real estate.
Okay. So you obviously were doing your homework while you were driving. So was there anything else? Did you take classes? How did you get into the wholesale part of real estate?
Um, it literally started with a Google search of just, like, how to buy rental properties, and I found, like, a guru, if you will, a pretty well-known gentleman out of Utah. His name is Chris Crone, and he has a bunch of YouTube videos and podcasts and stuff about, um, rental properties, like, acquiring wealth through having lots of properties and passive income. So I actually, paid $10,000 to become a platinum partner in his program, and, that was all the money I had saved up at the time, mind you. Actually, no, I had 5,000. I took a loan. I got a
Oh, wow.
$20,000 loan, and so I had 5,000. I put 5,000 and paid 10,000 into this program. So I was serious, like, I'm gonna invest in this and I'm gonna learn, because I figured real estate was the best way to help, um, be a good asset to the trucking company.
Okay. So you actually were looking to get into rentals. So
Yeah.
you were actually looking to buy rental property. You found this guy. You're like, I like what he's offering, and I am investing, and I'm going all in.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
It went great. It was like information overload though. Like once I tapped into his program and like all the online classes, and like it was just information overload literally. It was lots of books while I was driving, listening to his audiobooks and just learning, soaking it up. But I realized quickly, like, to buy rental properties, you need to have the income, the
Mhm.
proven income, right? So at least 2 years. I was only like a year into my new being a business owner, as an owner operator. So I couldn't qualify to like buy a property yet the traditional way through a bank. And I also didn't have like a whole bunch of capital to put as a down payment to buy in a non-traditional way. And so I'm like, shoot, like how am I going to get more capital quickly? And so that's when I discovered wholesaling. And so I started a wholesaling business through YouTube University, mostly like just learning from YouTube videos, Bigger Pockets. That's a podcast and platform that I encourage all truckers. Like, we got nothing but time on the road. Check out Bigger Pockets. There's so many things to learn through there.
Right.
Um, yeah, and so that's how I learned how to wholesale. And then while I was truck driving still full time, I closed my first two wholesale deals virtually. And after like that was all within a month time that I closed those two, and I made about $20,000. And so I was like, shoot, like
Nice.
I was like, I could go do this more.
Right? So at this point, you're also this is where you are really, getting your social media focus, right? Because you need to network to be able to do
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
I noticed that this is where you got really heavy in your social media presence and your image.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
So
I had changed. Yeah. No, go ahead.
so tell me about how that transition took place.
Um, in realizing most people who start a business, this type of business, right? Not trucking. Trucking requires your time, your butt in the seat, those wheels moving. You know you're going to make money. Well, in today's market, it's iffy. Um, but in this type of business, it's like you either have time or you have money to spend on marketing, on getting your brand, your image, your offer out there to people. And I didn't have a whole bunch of money, but I had time. So that's when I'm like, all right, let me, when I'm not driving, focus on building out my social media because I can have access to thousands of people, tens of thousands of people potentially, um, just through Facebook and Instagram. And so I just like started utilizing it for that instead of for entertainment, and posting more pictures, posting about like, hey, I help people who are facing foreclosure. Hey, I buy houses. Hey, I'm starting a real estate company. Yes, I'm still trucking. Just being very open with what I was posting to share with people, like, hey, this is what I'm doing and this is how I can help you or anybody who you might know who has a problematic house. Um, and that was very effective.
Was it I was gonna say, how is the feedback, especially from the trucking community? Because switching the mentality of truck drivers to that of an entrepreneur, sometimes there's a disconnect in there.
Yeah. I would say the feedback from most truckers was like, how? Everybody became very curious, like, how do you do real estate and be a truck driver? And so I found that there was a need to help educate my fellow brothers and sisters of the road to help them understand like how did I do it? I feel like if I can do it, you can do it. So that's when I kind of branched into coaching and just like allowing people. I created like the Calendly link where somebody can just book a quick call with me and I could just answer their questions like, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is how I learned, these are the books I listened to while driving. Um, yeah.
So, at what point did you step away from the truck with the wholesaling and coaching?
So about year two into me being an owner operator, it was like the very beginning of year two. I had met my boyfriend at the time. well, re-met. We knew each other for years, but we reconnected in the trucking space. He was a driver at Prime. And so we decided to team drive together. And so that he came onto my truck. And so having him be able to take majority of like the drive time under a lot of our loads allowed me to focus more on the real estate stuff. And so we did that like together where we were team driving and I was, focusing on the real estate for about 6 months. And then I'm like, hey, I need to come off the truck. I need to go back to Colorado and I need to like do real estate all in full time. And he was totally supportive of that. And he's like, all right, I'll stay trucking. I'll make sure this is running good and I can help support us financially while you're starting this new venture that can be very, very profitable. But of course, like most businesses in the first year, face some difficulties. So,
Yeah, especially in trucking.
yeah. Well, and in real estate, like going into this and not having a bunch of money to spend again on ads and like all of that, it was me like hitting the pavement to go out to networking events and meeting people and sharing like and it was very confusing to a lot of people in my community because they're like, wait, you're a truck driver. Like what do you mean you buy houses?
And this is the guy that you married, correct? I mean, you guys ended up
Yeah.
getting married, and that's what I
Yep.
thought. So, how did he handle you not being on the truck with him?
Not great. Like, he definitely missed me being close. I wanted him here with me, like after a few months. I'm like, all right, we need to figure something out. Like, I don't want you to be gone on the road all the time. And I see you like 3 days a month, you
Yeah,
know.
that's hard.
Yeah. So we did that actually for a year, where I was here and he was trucking off and on. Towards the end of that year, we would do like team loads just to try to like have some time together again and build up a little extra capital. So we would take a load from Colorado to California and back. And so I would only be gone for 4 or 5 days, and that would kind of help offset things. But then, end of 2021, I was doing stellar in real estate, like super, super great. I did not have to. We bought like 4 properties by then. I had Airbnbs going, amazing passive income. And so I'm like, all right, I can you just stop trucking now so you can be home with me? And so that's what we did. He came off the road. We hired a company that would place a driver. And I want to share this too. I don't know if people who are listening know this, but there are companies that like you can sign your truck onto and they manage it. They
Yep.
manage everything. The
Yep.
finding a driver, qualifying them, getting them loads, everything. They just send you a paycheck every week.
Yeah, I did that actually before I got my authority. Before I took the dive, transitioning from a company driver to an owner.
Mm.
I did that with a truck, and it's
So
nice.
like you bought a truck and then you had
Hmm.
someone else manage it and
Drive it. Yep, yep. And I put it with another company. Yeah, and they
while
just
you were
ran
still a
it.
company driver?
No, yes, yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
unique. I like that.
Yes. So when you're making that switch from company driver to owner, I think it's very important, because you don't know all those as a company driver. You don't know about IFTA. You don't know about how maintenance is going to affect you. You don't know about a lot of the, how much fuel and calculating your miles per gallon and your rate per mile, cost per mile. So I think transitioning, having that security where you have that learning curve is
Yeah.
very important before getting your, because I had my own authority. So that was my middle step. And it
Yeah.
was
No, that's
very
smart.
beneficial. Mhm.
I
So
love
you
that.
did that. So you did that with your truck. You put it with a company.
Yeah. And it was okay. Like, didn't I think I made maybe like 200-300 bucks a week off of the driver, you know, running full time. They didn't take great care of the truck. I'm
None
very,
of them do.
very, yeah, I'm very anal about that. Like, I'm like, if there's a leak, take it to the shop immediately. I don't care about this load. I don't care about your time. Like, this truck needs to be taken care of. So yeah, that was my only complaint there. But we had that going for a while, for I think it was like 8 months that we had the truck on with that company and just collecting those checks there. So that was decent. And then I was full focus on real estate. He was going to school to become an electrician and doing some contractor work too. And then I'm like, all right, I'm over this trucking stuff. Like we were losing money. So this was around the time like the market started to change, rates really started to come down. Late 2022, early 2023.
Yeah, that's when it
And
started hitting hard.
yeah, and so I'm like, let's just sell the truck and walk away. So that's what we did. We sold the truck and I think I made like 12 grand on it. And I was done. I thought I was done with trucking at that point. That was
Yeah,
beginning
because
of
you like
2023.
walked away and full-fledged into real estate.
Hmm.
And then
And then um, real estate had also started to tank around that time. So I'm like doing coaching. I'm still doing like some real estate deals, but not nearly as much as I was. Airbnbs had gone down. I was barely breaking even on like most of my properties and nonetheless not making a profit. And mind you, I'm full-time entrepreneur. Like I don't have a stable, steady income. I'm not working
mhm,
for somebody where I can count on my bills to be paid. It's all dependent on me doing deals, me having students to coach, and real estate, just as a whole. So things got super tight, and I'm like, all right, like, I don't know, something's got to give. This real estate stuff is not like super working out. And I get a call from a buddy and he's like, "Hey, I'm selling my trucking company. Do you want to buy it? You're the first person I thought of." And I'm like, "No, like I'm in no position to buy a trucking company."
right? I'm barely surviving. Have you seen rates?
Right. And I called my friend who I met at Schneider and I'm like, "Hey, I know you said something about wanting to expand. Here's this opportunity." He's like, "Yeah, I want to buy it. And I have another partner I'm going to bring in, and we're going to do it under his existing company, which will help us, with rates and stuff,
Right.
having a seasoned company to go under." And he's like, "But I want you to be a part of it because, you know trucking stuff." So I'm like, "All right, well, I guess, this could be some way for me to make a little bit and help out with building this trucking company." So I was only out of trucking for like 5 months. It
You
sucked me
can't
right back in.
mafia, right? It's like the mafia. You can't escape once you are in trucking. No
Yeah.
matter how much we want to, there's no escape. So now this new company popped up and
Mhm.
where you are now. Do you drive at all anymore or are you just strictly in the office?
Yeah, so we actually didn't end up buying my friend's company. He
Oh, he
went
did?
in another direction. But because we were, like, doing all this collaborating and, like, potentially buying this company, we're like, "Well, why don't we just let's do this together with this existing MC and get a few trucks and, build it out. We'll go after government contracts." And so that's what we decided to do. And in an effort to get a good jump start in that, my then ex-husband, so we got married and then d- we
Divorced.
weren't we weren't legally married, so we didn't have a formal divorce, but a spiritual ceremony. So we had separated, but still friends, still working together. And so he's like, "Hey, I'll go on the road, as one of your drivers." And I'm like, "I'll go on the road too, way for me to go make some money again and kind of clear my head from the mess I had just gone through with all the businesses and life changes." And so, yeah, we got two trucks. Me and Q is his name, went on the road to drive. And so I was full time driving again and then doing real estate kind of on the side for this last year.
So did you maintain the rental properties that you bought then or did you get rid of those?
No, yeah, I had 9 properties, what like, at my peak and got rid of all of them. Well, except for one. I still have my home that I bought here in Colorado. So yeah, I got rid of all of them.
So you dived into trucking, dived into real estate, went through the horrible economic market that we had that hammered both. And now you're basically starting over, but well more versed, a lot more knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah.
And so where you headed to now?
Um, so we have me and my business partner who's in Georgia, and he's the one who owns the company, um, or we're partners in Veteran Express Hauling Services, and he's a veteran. Um, so we have that company. We have two drivers, and kind of not really looking to like expand out anymore, like we were looking to do, and try to get government contracts and all that. Like, it's definitely possible. It just takes a lot more work than either one of us wants to put into trucking at the moment. And so, yeah, we're just running that, making sure our drivers are good, they're happy, they're being paid, the equipment's being paid. There's not a whole lot of profit outside of that in
No,
today's
there's
market
not.
because of rates. Um, and so I started my new company with my business partner here in Colorado, called Real Estate Deal Makers. And so we are building out this company that's different from what I was doing before, in a sense that the focus is just bringing community together, people who are real estate wholesalers and investors, bringing the two parties together in a verified community where everybody who's engaging as members are actually put through an in-house verification process where they have to prove that they know what the hell they're doing in real estate.
They have
They're
the
not
funding.
just,
Yeah.
yep, they have the funding if they're an investor, and if they're a wholesaler, they have the knowledge, they have the experience, they can run their numbers. They aren't bringing shit deals to the table, excuse my language, trying to you know get deals done that aren't deals. So yeah,
Okay.
that's what we're
But this
building.
isn't a free service. I mean, you paid a lot of money to get your knowledge. And I hope with everything that you've learned, you know your worth and you're capitalizing on that as you move forward.
Yeah, yeah, I am finally, like, I didn't for a long time. I was literally coaching people for free for years. And that absolutely burned me out like no other. But yes, you're absolutely right. I've spent a lot of money and time educating myself on how to be a good wholesaler and investor and what not to do. I've learned a lot of hard lessons in um, over leveraging myself and buying bad deals. So yeah, with that knowledge and experience, I'm in a position now to bring people in and um, put a price tag on the proximity to me and my group and all that we're sharing with the community. And it's beneficial to them as well. They get they get so much.
That's
I
good.
wish that this existed for me when I was like new in this.
Right, right. The resources, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
going through your background, company wise, your companies that you've done, you've also been very active in your organizations other than your actual employment. Um, so I know you've been active in some of the women trucking associations. Have you done the same thing on the wholesale side, the real estate? Do you delve into I mean, when I was in insurance and real estate, I was in the professional women's, I was in so many associations, I can't keep track. But the
I'm not.
networking is very important.
Yeah. I'm not though, actually, no. I have never joined any real estate related organizations or clubs. I mean, I'm also not a licensed realtor. I'm an unlicensed investor and wholesaler. You don't have to be licensed to do what I do. So there's not a lot of professional communities that have been established around, um, you know, thing, things related to real estate that don't have to do with being a realtor. So that's part of what I'm creating. That's what I'm
I was gonna
establishing.
say, should there be?
Yeah, yep. That's what
You
we're building.
That's my thing lately. There's a lot of things missing from the trucking industry that should be there,
Mhm.
and I imagine wholesaling is the same because, most of the time that you hear about wholesalers is you see this guy with these flashy videos and these flashy houses and these flashy cars with a high price tag for a course. And you don't actually see people like you doing the actual hard work that it takes
Yeah.
in that industry.
Mhm. Yeah, and you don't see that, like, while you can get rich in this business, right? And it is an excellent opportunity for people who don't have a lot of capital, who wanna get into something that the entry is easy, is low cost. But, uh, because of that and because it's not regulated in most states, there are some states who have started to crack down and regulate and require that to do wholesaling, you have to be a licensed agent. But there are still a lot of states that don't require that, Colorado being one of them. Because of that, there's a lot of people who lack integrity, a lot of people who are out here doing the wrong thing, people who are really screwing over homeowners that are in distressed situations, screwing over other wholesalers. I've had wholesalers screw me. I've had investors lie to me. I like so that's part of what I'm working to change in this community is establishing a place that like under this house, under real estate deal makers, if you're a part of this house, in this house, we tell the truth. In this house, we don't force deals and screw other people. We just don't. And if you have done that, if any of your practices are not of the utmost integrity, like you're not welcome here. I don't care how many deals you've done. I don't care how much money you make, how many fancy cars you own. In this community, we're not regulated by the state, by federal, by anything. So it's up to us to create that like expectation that like it's just not acceptable to screw people over.
That's awesome. I love that concept. That's going to set you apart from everybody else. Integrity is huge, and giving homeowners that security that you're looking out for them is
Mhm.
going to really help you. Because most homeowners, when they are approached by that, feel like they're getting the crap into the deal.
Mhm.
So looking out
Yeah.
for your people is important. So, with trucking, with that, I do believe I was talking to you earlier about the magazine cover you were on.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
So,
and
how
I
was
went
that
to
experience?
that was great. I still see people send me like copies of the magazine, like pictures like, "Oh, I finally got one of you." And
I haven't
um
seen it yet. I haven't
you
seen it
haven't
yet.
seen it. Oh
No,
man,
no,
yeah.
but I've been looking for it. So,
You got to check it out. I mean, I can send you. I think we have digital copies I can send you too.
yeah, I saw the digital front page of it, which you looked awesome in it. It was a
Thank
great,
you.
you were the first cover of the first episode, which has got to be, pretty exciting for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was really like the cherry on top to my trekking journey, that I've had the opportunity to connect with amazing women like you, mostly through social media and through these trucker groups. And I've had the opportunity to teach a lot of women how to get into it. And I'm very grateful to even be able to do that, to have the platform that people want to come and talk to me and listen to me, and that I can help them try something that seems like it's a male dominated. It is male dominated, but
It is male dominated. I mean, it just is,
yeah,
Um, when we first came out here, I mean, it's dirty. I am not um it's not this clean version that they give. I've had trainees who are like, "Oh, I didn't know I had to open the door. Opening doors are a man's job." And it's like, "No, honey, it's
wow,
yours." And I've seen a lot of women not be prepared for the job that they're entering into.
yeah,
So, I think once we prepare them a little bit better, which a lot of women drivers like myself and you are doing, and we're showing the real side of trucking, and it's not just the hard work, but the potential that it has to change our lives.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference. And when you have female truckers come to you and they say, "Hey, what do you think?" What do you tell them
When they ask me what, like, about my
about
experience with
trucking? Yeah, and your experience. I mean, what advice do you give? What direction do you guide them?
um, I usually lead with what you just said, like, trucking is gonna have its ups and downs. It has helped me see some of my highest peaks and my lowest lows, emotionally feeling like just put through the ringer some days when you're dealing with snow and chains and blowouts and just shit, like, it's gonna be tough, but trucking has the ability to change your life. It has the ability to help you earn good income, to learn unique skills, to develop a strength within yourself as a person, but also as a woman, to identify like you're probably stronger than you think you are, mentally. And yeah, and you have that, like, it may be scary and you may feel alone and you may feel worried about what somebody might do to you, but the opportunity to be a woman in trucking and to overcome all of those things, it gives us like freaking superpowers, I think.
It does. It does. I have seen women who came out here timid, with no self-esteem, very insecure, build up, and become very strong, independent women,
Yeah.
from trucking because they were taught their whole life that they couldn't do things, and then they came out here and they smashed it, and they
Mhm.
overcome some crazy obstacles, and it built them up a way that nothing else can.
Yeah. Like in real estate, I've had a lot of people ask me like, "You're so confident, you're so brave, like, and you're a young woman of color in a predominantly white old man's industry."
Right?
Uh, and they're like, "How? Like, what? Like, I don't understand it." And I'm like, "Dude, I've faced death on the road as a trucker. I have come close to taking other people's lives because of their negligence and cutting me off. You know, like I've dealt with things, I've seen things like
Mhm.
feels like going to prison or something. Like I have seen things that I can't unsee. I have developed strengths that now I don't care that somebody thinks less of me because I'm a young woman of color. They think I don't belong here. I don't care that somebody tells me no to screw off because they don't want to accept my offer on a house. That does not phase me
No,
because
you earned
of
your right.
what I've done. Yeah,
Yeah.
in
You
trucking.
you've you know, it's hard whether you're a white female, a woman of color female, being a female in this industry is brutal anyway. You were young. I mean, so to face not only the sexism, but the racism and to overcome everything and have such the positive experience that you have is a testimony to what can be accomplished by women.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it is mindset. You
Mhm.
know, a lot of truckers' mindset is garbage. Like,
It is, it is, it is.
and
You have to be
it,
positive. I hear a lot of, "Oh, this happened because I'm a wo," or, "This happened because," and, I love the stories where people have come out here and they have just totally conquered the industry. Um, I am not a shy person, and anybody who knows me personally knows that when I walk across a truck stop parking lot, I walk like I own the thing. I mean,
mhm.
I'm not sh I never have been shy or timid, but when you see a woman come out here scared, and playing victim to every circumstance, it puts a target on you
Yeah, and
even
you're not
more.
gonna go far.
No.
Having the mindset that you have, that I have, that some of us choose to have, of holding our head high and taking the licks when when the world
A
gives
lot
them
of
to
them.
us. Um, Having that mindset and staying positive and staying mentally strong, I think allows us take the lessons that trucking gives us and make something beautiful out of it instead of becoming a victim.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a lot of crap out here. I mean, who hasn't? I've had guys, "Oh, yeah, she wasn't straight in the fuel island," and then the guy behind me was even more crooked than I was, and I'm like, "Why am I getting the crap? I mean, come on," you know? "Oh, it took her she had to pull up to straighten up." Yeah, well, the guy next to me pulled up 8 times. You didn't give him any slack, you
Right.
know? So they just like to pick on us. But sometimes
Mhm.
you wonder if they just want the attention from us. It's like when they pull your hair in kindergarten.
Yeah, they just wanna
So,
rise out of you.
yeah. So what's are you going to stay in trucking then? Is that your plan for a while? I mean, it seems that it's a great thing to keep you financially stable.
Not at all. There is no
No?
money being made in trucking, like,
Well,
right
driving,
as
I meant driving.
oh, yeah, no, I'm not driving at all. I have a driver in that truck now, and I'll go as needed. Like, we had another driver in there, and it did not go well at all. I had him like, I'm like, "Dude, you're done. Park the truck. I will get you a ticket home, but yeah, this is." And so he ended up leaving the truck in North Carolina. So, like, I had to go out there and recover it and drive it back to Georgia, and like that kind of stuff. I'll hop behind the wheel as needed, for our company. But no, I'm actually, we're considering selling the company as a whole, like, package. So that's something we're exploring. We're very early in that thought process, but
I
otherwise,
don't know.
we'll keep it going.
I think the industry is going to change a little bit. It seems. I think with this transition right now between in politics, which I don't like to get into, but every time there's a change, it seems like the economy of trucking is affected, and we have been on a down for a while, so we are due for a little up. So it would be nice to
Yeah,
see that.
yeah. If
Hopefully,
that happens, we'll stay in. Might expand a little bit. We'll see.
I don't think it'll be anytime soon, granted. I mean, I don't think that tomorrow is just gonna go woof, but hopefully we should, that we've been down long enough that, uh we should see a spike soon. Um
Yeah.
so I don't know. When I was an owner, I liked going out and recovering the trucks every now and then and getting that. I miss being out on the road.
So you're not driving at all anymore?
No, I am. I am. I work 70 hours a week now, but I closed my company in 23. I actually had a driver who was a decent driver, I thought. But he had a breakdown, and when the shop called me, they found alcohol in the truck. And I was like, "Nope, I do not want the liability of something like that." And that was my final straw. So I went
Mm,
back to being a company driver. Um, I hate being gone 70 hours a week because I got
yeah.
used to being the boss, and doing the planning and doing the dispatching. And it's really hard going back to being the employee after that. Um,
Are you
but
local or regional?
regional. Yeah.
Regional, okay.
But eventually I'm going to slow down a little bit on that. But financially, I have a mortgage. I have a BMW that I pay for. I have a lifestyle that I have established that I am very comfortable with,
Yeah,
and trucking pays for that. So
yeah.
I'm not ready to give that up.
And that is the beautiful side of trucking, I would say, that is still currently decent is,
Yeah.
being a company driver. I have people ask me all the time, like, "Is now a good time to buy a truck? Like, I wanna be an owner op or I wanna start a company." And I'm like, "No, bro. It is
Nope.
not this is not it. Go be a company driver. You will make more money, I promise you."
Well, price of trucks is really low right now, but there's a reason because the rates are so low that people can't survive out there very well,
Yeah.
unless you
I mean,
have a contract.
we even got our trucks at not quite as low as they are now, but, a year ago, they were decently priced, and so our payments are low on the trucks, our insurance is low on the trucks, we have good safety scores. We're able to get decent loads, and it still is just like,
It's
what
bad, it's bad.
we build up a little bit, it's like, "Oh, profit, profit, profit," of course, In trucking, we know what happens. You need tires. Something happened. You get a
Mhm.
blow. You replace tires, and then 2 weeks later, you get a blowout. So now you got to replace it all over again. And so everything that gets built up pretty quickly dwindles away with repairs and maintenance. So
Yeah, I always said big numbers in, big numbers out, but right now it's little numbers in, big numbers still out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
companies way to go.
anything uh so we might be walking away from trucking. It'd be sad to see you leave the trucking industry.
I don't
Um
know that I'll ever fully say goodbye. Like I Trucker Lady G is still so much of me. Like that's 7 years since I was 22. I'm 30 now, just turned 30. Like that's so much of me that even if I sell, I'm sure I will still find my way to get involved and help encourage women in the industry. And
well,
yeah.
anytime you want to come get involved, let me know because I am starting an advocation. Wow. My English today, advocating for a sexual assault hotline and website.
Okay.
And I'm getting really big in advocating for the parking expansion. So there's some stuff in front of FMCSA right now. And what they
Nice.
need is voices. So anytime you want to use your voice for good, Gabrielle, just hit me up because I can definitely direct you in a few directions that we need.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
So everybody, thank you. I'm gonna Gabby, she's got lots of work to do, and we kept her yesterday and today with audio issues. It was great having you on the show.
Thank you.
Everybody, stay safe out there. And that's it today. One moment.